gentlemen, with Ninja and Hysteria going against King Richard, Aimbotcalvin for our losers quarter round. Let's see who is, in fact, going to take this. This is by far going to be a true test for King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. We'll see if they can come out ahead, and it looks like they are going to be hitting up yonder way, or that soccer
fields, yeah.
Yeah, that soccer field. Let's see how it's going to work out for them. Where's Ninja and Hysteria at?
They're at triple-decker houses, which is an interesting drop, in my opinion. So they're actually going to drop the crater site near the supervillain layer over towards the Snobby Shore side of the map. Not something I think I've seen before watching Friday Fortnite, but it's a pretty underrated drop. You're really, really close to Pleasant Park and can easily flank that. So very similar to dropping over by a hotel where they dropped earlier on today.
Yeah, definitely so. As you know, King Richard and Aimbotcalvin kind of taking over that spot where Avery and Noah J used to go quite often. This was their spot. They'd go Shifty or they'd go over to here. And it's a good spot because it kind of emulates what Shifty does. You can push from here over to Tilted quite easily. You can also, go to Greasy, I do believe, as well. From this position, you can hit up Shifty too. So there's a lot of different routes you can take depending on maybe where the circle collapses, depending on or where you have your game plan ahead of time.
And I would say, at least as far as regular drops are considered, I'm not sure if we see King Richard and Aimbotcalvin kind of counter that play by going towards Soccer Field, which happens to be a little bit kind of toward the eastern side of that. Because in this play, if you're King or if you're in Ninja Squad and whatnot, you either push Tilted fast or you go toward Pleasant Park. So Pleasant Park is obviously a decent kind of venture, but regarding overall play, I think, at least as far as early eliminations, I think King Richard and Aimbotcalvin have the advantage. If you look at Tilted, if you look at Shifty, Greasy Grove, they kind of have that to their favor. But we'll see what happens, right? Early engagements can happen. We talked about different landing spots can equal to different strategies. It happens over time, but it looks like eliminations are at least coming through early from Aimbotcalvin and King Richard, as at least one kill was found. Of course, don't have Aimbotcalvin stream, unfortunately, not as of yet. So for those who have been asking in the chat, not exactly sure as to why, but still trying to advance forward. Shout out to production for trying to get these scoreboards up to date and whatnot. So at least one kill on the board for that team.
Yeah, rightly so. And I want to point out something to you, Fallout. You notice they went Snobby like you were telling me, or at least just on the outside of Snobby. Now they're inside the bat layer, which, by the way, shout out to Epic. This is one of the coolest additions to their map, which I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to progress as the map kind of develops, right? But look at the circle. The circle's actually within, or at least they're within the circle, even this far out. So that is a big break on their part.
And it's such an interesting play from Ninja and Hysteria is to drop triple deckers. They're going all the way super villain layer, and now really they've just been farming and looting up, and finally they're going to enter their first fight over at Snobby Shores. I'm surprised this fight is still going on, and they're going to hope to pick up at least 3 or 4 kills here as they eliminate the Snobby Shores victorious squad.
So are you guys surprised they go Snobby over Pleasant or Snobby over anything else?
100%. Where do you go from here?
Yeah,
well, that's why I was curious. I was like, maybe there's a play call that I'm just not familiar with, or what? I mean, Snobby, at least based off the original drop, maybe more popular than usual.
Yep.
But I mean, for the most part, I think you go Pleasant, at least as far as debating on what their mindset is, right, coming into this game, if they want to kind of be long-lasting or whatever play style they have coming into this match. But I think going towards Snobby Shores which is the opposite direction of Pleasant Park, is just kind of an oddity.
Yeah, because the best rotation after this is to go Soccer Fields, which was already alluded by the other team. So it really, completely agree. Now, guess what? Who's going Pleasant? It's going to be King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. They'll be able to pick up the Pleasant kills, and they're going to be ahead of these individuals for at least the entire game. If they can keep up the pace here, they'll always be one step ahead in terms of distance. So I really like the play and the counter that comes in from KR and Aimbotcalvin.
Well, I'm kind of curious if Ninja and Hysteria maybe thought King Richard and Aimbotcalvin they typically go to these high contested areas, Tilted, Salty. We've seen them drop in crazy places, and sometimes they do get dropped early, and I'm kind of curious to know if maybe that's why they did what they did. They went over trying to, pick up some kills, stay out kind of in the boonies at this point, and then kind of move their way in and maybe bank on the fact King Richard and Aimbotcalvin would go down. But unfortunately for Ninja and Hysteria, if that was their strategy, I don't know exactly for sure, but if that was their strategy, King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, as we saw, right, they pushed over into the soccer field area, which means obviously there's not a lot of engagements there. Now in Pleasant, which is now where Ninja and Hysteria look like they're moving to, they're already in engagements, they're already picking up the kills Ninja and Hysteria would want to pick up. So at this point, a lot of legwork still needs to be done through Ninja and Hysteria.
Yeah. And that decision to go to Snobby Shores, whether it is probable or not, that's 3 kills that they lose in that situation where they could have gone Pleasant. Maybe even if they make the decision to go before King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, because they had that was their one favorable spot. We talked about whenever you're in King Richard and Aimbotcalvin's position, they have the advantage every place except for Pleasant Park, and that's the one place they go to. I got to say, at least off of initial strats, I love what we're seeing from Aimbotcalvin and King Richard. I think they've pulled out a great playbook, at least off the start, kind of eliminating the ability for Ninja and Hysteria to really kind of pull out something crazy, to kind of hold on to what advantage to kind of going toward that area that they went to off the break did. And I said it's obviously given them somewhat of an advantage right now.
But at the end of the day, yeah, I think we all agree it was the right play from King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, but they are far but out. I think in Ninja's first game, we saw them drop Hotel at a late rotation to Pleasant Park, and we were a little bit critical of that. They ended up dropping, I think, an extra kill or two over their opponents in game number 1. I think that was against Myth and Hamlinz. They ended up winning that game. So too soon to of course, count them out. They play for late game and mid game very, very often. Ninja and Hysteria like that mid to late game, and we'll see what happens here as they're now right next to King Richard and Aimbotcalvin in this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many kills we're going to see stolen from each team, especially. But the thing is, we could see a late game here due to the fact that they're sticking so close together. Obviously, they're playing against each other, but they still provide protection for each other in certain ways. We've seen a teammate go down, and then the other team push in and try and get the kills, and they do get the kills and end up saving the life of their opponent unintentionally. But it's kind of one of those things. You just got to go with it and just try and pick up as many kills as you possibly can, because that's what counts at the end of the day. But pushing forward now to Tilted is, in fact, going to be Ninja leading the way along with Hysteria following behind, but King Richard as well following with Aimbotcalvin. We're both going into Tilted, and Ninja's going to be lucky. He's going to find the first engagement, trying to kill this player, and unfortunately missing just a little bit, but luckily able to lock in the shots, taking him out, and that's going to put him at 2 total kills, 3 on the left, 2 on the right with King Richard. Aimbotcalvin, of course, has some in his back pocket. Very hot, contested game, and we have a fight here as King Richard is, in fact, going to get his kill stolen by Ninja.
Yep. I think they both took
one.
Calvin was able to get one as well. Now Ninja getting some good shots into someone. Bottom brick apartments right here. He's going to be pushing up and aggressing forward. And now it's going to be a matter of who can get the last shot in these fights, as Ninja with a great headshot. But that default skin is going to get Ninja so weak. 15 HP for Ninja. He has a chug jug, though, so as long as he can stay alive and survive, Ninja is going to do it with 15 HP, outplays and outperforms that Omega, and how he's rewarded with a chug jug and some loot. Great job by Ninja right there.
Yeah, definitely taking out that Omega. I like it. Going down now. He's going to come in with the chug jug, try to get the health, try to get the shield. And, man, you got to talk about juking. Ninja, I don't know if he's a good basketball player, but if he was, he'd be juking me on the court with those kind of plays. I don't know if that worked, but we're going with
I think
boys.
Anybody could.
That was okay. Well,
you messed with me a little bit earlier.
We're
going to fire back a little bit.
We're going to find out during a company basketball game. That's all I got to say.
I think we're on the same team.
But that's the way it should be. So, but anyway,
you got to separate the two talent. It was not even a question.
It's true.
What's going on? And who is making these decisions? HR, where are you?
Oh yeah, HR.
Definitely watching right now, I'm sure.
6 kills on the left for Ninja and Hysteria, and a comeback, though, for King Richard Aimbotcalvin, looking to make it a close game indeed. As now it looks like they are done with Tilted. They might be pushing out at this point. No more engagements are going to be remaining. 21 players still to land, as it looks like the circle is, in fact, going to be around Pleasant just up above, so they're going to have to backtrack, try to get over to that area. So this is an interesting circle as well. We haven't seen it end at Pleasant as of yet.
Did we have it? One thing I want to point out really quickly is I know we've been talking about the consistent metas, the massive changes and whatnot. People are saying, is Double Pump still alive? Well, at least not in this series. We can't see Aimbotcalvin right now, but we see, at least for Ninja, he's rocking a tack shotgun along with the pump. We have on the bottom for Hysteria, he's rocking the pump/heavy. And for King Richard right now, we're seeing him rock with the pump/tack as well. So I don't know, man. It's definitely, like I said, a week ago, totally different than what we're seeing right now. Heavies probably wouldn't even be a thought as far as the arsenal for either of our players. I would say maybe even 2 weeks ago at this point, with the meta change being that long ago. But still, interesting to see the meta change and how players can obviously react to different things. Got to be very versatile when it comes into Fortnite.
And here we go. Big fight about to break down towards the mid-house of Loot Lake. Ninja puts himself at the bottom of that lake in kind of a bad spot here. Meanwhile, there's some individuals above him. A build fight is going on top of that house. No kills picked up just yet. Ninja is trying to hunt one out. He hears one in that lake. It looks like he gets a good first shot off.
But leaves him alone, actually. No, that player
was down.
That player was already down from Ninja initially. And, watch out. You got the John Wick, but not going to be enough. But Calvin making a great play and still in the kill. This is what we talked about. This is exactly what you need to see, and this is what these players do is, a Ninja may do hashtag all the work, but at the end of the day, Aimbotcalvin's going to come in and get the final shot, and that's all that matters.
Indeed. Now, we don't have the kill count on our screen. We can't see how many kills Calvin has, but I've seen him rack up quite a few here. So I think it's a slight lead right now for King Richard and Calvin, because Calvin has really stepped up in this game particularly.
Definitely so, as we see the bounce trap coming out, giving Ninja a little bit of a distance between him and Aimbotcalvin to try and push over here on Loot Lake to get out of the way, going towards the circle as it is going to be collapsing down, not at risk to be taken out by the storm just yet, or at least get some damage, but he will be pushing forward to try and find any potential engagements as it's dwindling down. We see 14 now remaining, and not a lot going on just yet, but it's definitely going to be a close one going into to second game.
It is. And I know our production team is waiting vigorously for that scoreboard to pop up to calculate the score for us. But game 2 will be a great one. I think it's going to be a pretty close ending here in game 1.
And I think the reason why we're not seeing any two kill high heavy games is based off the storm, right? Or based off the storm's location, the ending zone. Both these teams really haven't made it too far around this area. We talked about they started off kind of around the Pleasant Park area. They kind of make their way a little bit toward their east and Tilted Towers, kind of toward Loot Lake, but they haven't really explored too much of our map. The zone wasn't the major factor. They had to kind of roam across the entire thing, find kills along the way, visit multiple cities. They probably visited 2, 3, 4 locations at the very most. And I think that's the reason why we're seeing such a very slim kind of overall game right now is based off the Storm's location, which was exactly where they landed off the start.
Ninja's going to be ahead of King Richard there as he will, in fact, find the first engagements. I want to know who's off to his right, but it doesn't matter as Ninja gets one knock. And can he get the second?
Oh.
No, he will get
Hysteria.
knocked down, and that's going to be Hysteria picking it up. So good to have your teammate in your back pocket, and Ninja with the aggression pushing forward once again to try and get this knock too. Will he be able to get it? Yes, he cannot actually. As Aimbotcalvin stills it, and this is back and forth action coming between the two now. 8 players total engagements remaining. We'll see how it's going to happen as we do see Hysteria has broken off. He's going to have a little bit of a lead to try and find those remaining players, exactly what you want to do. And I love the confidence between Ninja and Hysteria. They can break off, and it's totally okay because they have 100% confidence in each other. Hysteria is playing well. He only has 2 kills, but he's got those 2 kills where they mattered.
Yeah, and right there, Ninja using that green AR like it's a gold scarf. He was lasering every single person. Not able to finish all those kills his teammate Hysteria did instead, and now hunting for these last 8 remaining players on the map. Launchpad's going to be placed by Ninja. Hysteria not going to follow up as he's already ahead, and it looks like it's going to be King Richard's going to try and steal that launchpad to get there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So pushing forward is Ninja and Hysteria, and hello, he finds one player below there. Good heads-up play. Must have spotted his head from a distance, and we'll take some shots in the back as Hysteria is going to be pushing up to try and provide some cover, but doesn't need it as Ninja is just picking off this team left and right with the tacked shotgun in his back pocket, showing, hey, even though they may nerf it, they may nerf the headshot multiplier as well, but it doesn't matter. I'm still going to make it work. Every single time we've watched him play, he's made guns work left and right, whether they've just been buffed, nerfed. He's still going to rock them and still make them a viable option, showing, hey, you know what? If you're good, it doesn't matter what you have. It's not the arrow, it's the Indian.
I think I can honestly watch Ninja pull up the revolver and be like, yeah, that's a pretty sound strategy after just watching how easy he makes every single gun look. Unbelievable player. Of course, we talked about him, like you mentioned earlier, Taylor, with his ability with a multitude of weapons, whether it's the LMG, whether it's the minigun, a lot of outside things that just aren't typical. He obviously makes every weapon shine. But as far as the last remaining couple frags start to come through, I'm taking a look quickly at the top right of our screen. It's going to be King Richard's point of view, getting shot from the backside, needing to find a few of these frags toward the end. 2 players in front of him, has the ability to nearly pick off both. Here comes the first. Steady shots for the second as he knocks down 2 players back to back. Going to grab the loot and solidify these eliminations is at least as far as things are considered. I want to say that Aimbotcalvin has more than King Richard does, so it's going to be pretty close toward the end. But take a look, boys. We talked about Ninja, right? 11 frags. That's very impressive. I'm very curious to see how many that Aimbotcalvin does. He has 9.
He has 9.
So
9. So that's 14 on the right. And on the left there, we have 12 plus 3, 15. So a 1-point game between the two as Ninja and Hysteria will come in with a little minor lead. Nothing really crazy. Might as well be 0-0 at this point, but it comes to show that's obviously going to change the landing spots. And we got the share screen open and it's good to go? I
think so.
So we're actually going to bring up the mini-map real quick. Landon's going to give a breakdown as to the landing spots and the rotations as we're going to go – we're going to turn it around. There we go. We're going to bring it in right now. So, Landon, go ahead and tell us what you saw overall in that match.
Yeah, man. So I'm going to kind of point out at least the very beginning landing zones for both of our squads. And what to me really was a major factor as to why at least the beginning portion is a little bit changed up. Because, of course, we talked about the yellow being Ninja squad, the blue team being King Richard squad. Now, one thing that I'm going to point out, at least off the break, and this is kind of the only point that I'm going to make throughout this kind of telestrator moment, is what happens off the start. We see King Richard and Aimbotcalvin obviously kind of go toward that soccer field position. And the reason why they're going toward Pleasant Park is because of the initial play from Ninja and Hysteria after going back cave to go towards Snobby Shores. Once they go Snobby Shores, that kind of brings open the entire play for King Richard and Co. to say, hey, we don't have to go toward Greasy Grove. We don't have to go Tilted. We're going to go the only kind of typical play for Ninja and Hysteria. The main typical play for them should have been to go Pleasant Park, but instead we're going to counter that by going to one of their primary locations. So once the initial play is for Ninja and Co. to go to Snobby Shores, that's when we see the initial play from King Richard and Co. to go toward Pleasant Park. And what that does is you're going to see me draw a line here. What that means is that is basically a wall. And that wall essentially is what Ninja and Hysteria had at their advantage. And you want to talk about the open space toward the right, how much space that is compared to what Ninja and Hysteria have at this moment. I mean, they totally countered them, at least off the start of this game. And I think what's going to be very important for landing zones is to make sure Ninja and Hysteria realize their map position and what really is going to be at their favor, and to realize and say, hey, we can't let the enemy counter us, at least off the break like that again, because if so, they can easily start to walk away with an advantage if things start to go the way that they probably should have with that Pleasant Park.
And I love that. I love that counter from King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. I would like to see them keep that advantage by staying one step ahead of Ninja and Hysteria. They got to Pleasant Park first, but they got out-rotated to Tilted.
Yeah,
I wonder why that was the case. They really should not have, and Ninja and Hysteria were able to claw their way back into this one. But now, I believe you said it was a 1-kill lead for Ninja and Hysteria? There it is on my screen. Okay, I apologize. Ninja Hysteria up by 1, and you can see where they're dropping. It's all going to come down to this game number 2, losers bracket, win or go home. Ninja and Hysteria have a 1-kill lead in this one. Looks like we're looking towards a Shifty Shafts drop for Ninja and Hysteria. Meanwhile, Richard and Aimbotcalvin are going Tilted Towers, and you look pretty tilted in real life.
I mean, I can understand it. I mean, this is their strategy, right? This is the play call they like to make. They're high risk, high reward team. While it's not necessarily my favorable play, we'll see how it works out for them. Calvin, very skilled, up in your face type of player. Exact same thing with King Richard. I will also say that if they were to go toward a very high priority place to also counter the enemy, it would to go here, right? Because the primary reason why you go Shifty Shafts is to kind of alleviate the initial pressure that happens in Tilted Towers, and then once you have those weapons, hang on the outskirts and fire from afar, challenge on a squad once you've got some utility. So at least in this situation, King Richard and Aimbotcalvin are going to have the advantage of making sure the end-all, be-all goal for the opposition isn't going to be as easy because you're stealing these kills, which is in the future what the opposition wants to do.
Yep, that's definitely how this initial break is going to pay off. We'll see as we see as shots are going to be fired as players are just pushing King Richard left and right. He's still picking them off, though, as he does, in fact, pick up that kill there. Actually, he doesn't. I'm wondering who picked up that kill.
Calvin did. One of them did.
Maybe it was Calvin, but I'm hoping it just wasn't a random who picked it up because that would be really unfortunate. But luckily, still looking pretty good. At least 2 kills at this point. They're in the open, I got to say, but he is going to throw the plungers in, trying to spot the player just inside. We see now Ninja does get a knock himself along with the elimination. So Ninja and Hysteria on their end are picking up kills as well to kind of match that aggressiveness, but it will slow down. And King Rich and Aimbotcalvin have a potential to pick up a lot of kills at this point, building up ahead. Is in fact going to be Ninja, gets 1 knock plus a kill, and he is looking good, and Hysteria as well picking up kills too. Both a phenomenal team. 4 kills now on the left.
A good start right now. I believe it's 2 kills, if not maybe 3 for Aimbotcalvin and King Richard. Meanwhile, Ninja and Hysteria pick up, I think we said 4 as well on their end, so it's going to be a lead still for them. However, many more people that they can pick up over on the tilted side.
Did you just go to windowed mode by accident?
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Get those settings right back.
No signal, no Ninja, not like this.
Oh man, that's what's kind of nerve-wracking about that is that totally is slowing up his play right now. Like that's distracting him, and like I said, that's the worst thing possible because what they're trying to do is get their kills in Shifty and move on. Like you're trying to stay in Shifty for as short a time as possible. If their squad's coming, that's great. But your end all be all is to try to get out of Shifty as fast as possible. And right now that's not the case because Ninja's having some personal issues, some technical issues, which is exactly the opposite of what you want right now.
And, I was actually playing the other day. I switched from window to full screen, and my game crashed. So really? I don't know if that happened to Ninja here, but he's still sitting with no signal.
Oh,
that could be heartbreaking for Ninja.
Yep, he's out. He's disconnected.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there it is.
Please, production, if you can go ask Demo in the other room what they're going to be doing. I don't know what's going to be happening here, but, hey, got to be definitely nervous if you are Hysteria on the team. I mean, this was such a close game.
If you're a fan, right, which I think everybody is of Ninja at this point, at least if you're a fan of competitive, you're kind of hoping that something were to happen. I mean, I don't know exactly what would be the case, what we would do in the situation. Of course, that's totally up to referees and production and whatnot decide that decision, and I know everything's obviously going to be smoothed out regarding that. But man, talk about an unfortunate spot. But if you're Hysteria now, man, kind of going back onto his play at this time in the game, I mean, I think he's got to play all out more aggressive. He's got to head into Tilted immediately, or at least hit up some near close town where there's going to be a very high population. Because, I mean, it's fair to say there's always someone going to be on Tilted, and that's going to favor King Richard and Aimbotcalvin consistently.
It definitely is, but I mean, how interesting could it be if King Richard and Aimbotcalvin do go down at this point, and Hysteria's last life and still takes the win? So a lot of interesting things that could potentially happen here, but I got to tell you, King Richard's playing out of his mind, spots a player up top, and look at the reaction, the snapshots coming in from him to pick up not only the guy on the ground, but also the player on the rooftop.
Well, it's funny because King Richard actually doesn't get the kill on the guy on the top. It's funny to see how synchronized him and Aimbotcalvin are at this point in the game. They've been teaming for, the last 3-4 weeks now?
Yeah.
It's starting to see that synergy come into play.
Absolutely. Hysteria on your screen now as we're going to see how is he going to perform without Ninja in his back pocket, and that's a huge blow, and he will take some damage to his fort, but he's going to go ahead and throw out some grenades to try and fend off this team that's going to be in front of him, and RPG's coming your way, and that is not what you want to see. Defensive building has to be on point because all it takes is one RPG to connect with you, and you are, in fact, going to be in a lot of trouble, but he still has the high ground, so that's one advantage. Players pushing him aren't maintaining that high ground. They're still giving it to him, so he has that advantage. Shooting down at him, drops down and picks up a nice 2-piece to put him at 4 total kills overall, and he's still keeping the team alive.
Yep, Ninja had 2 before he came out, and of course now that he's at Greasy with the other 2 at Tilted, it's not going to be looking good here. He's still hunting down a couple kills, but he's not going to find anyone for at least a couple minutes here. He needs to make a quick rotation and try to find some sort of action, some way, somehow.
Oh, Aimbotcalvin.
Go down.
Ooh, this is a little bit scary right now. King Richard needs to go big. Honestly, if I'm King Richard, I am hardcore setting up a base. I personally don't challenge this. I really don't. As long as you have your teammate alive, that's big. And obviously, maybe he's building up because he knows someone happens to be right behind him. The LMG in full force gets another knockdown, but not the full elimination. There are teammates lingering, and I believe Aimbotcalvin has been taken down. So while it's great, King Richard finds those eliminations, his teammate is there for the sacrifice. So rather unfortunate play. And like I said, I'm not sure, right, in the overall sequence of whether or not King Richard could have built up and saved his squad mate in that position. But to me, I'm kind of favoring having that 2 versus 1 for the future of this game. You're down to the final 30. Those 2 eliminations, are nice. But I think you got to have Aimbotcalvin. But I believe we're maybe deciding on what's going to happen. I actually saw Hysteria in the in-game chat, probably relaying info to King Richard and Aimbotcalvin.
And I think we're going to have a restart, which, by the way, on both ends is pretty big because, I mean, they were having great performances on either which, and we don't know how many kills Aimbotcalvin himself had. I didn't catch it at the end. I don't know if you guys caught it. But
I think he had like 2, honestly. I think 2 or 3, maybe.
So 2 or 3, but still, I mean, with as close of a game as it is. But,
absolutely.
I mean, it's only fair. I mean, Ninja, unfortunately, out of his control, you can't help it. It's not like he died. He, like
crashed,
you said, Windows.
Switching to full screen or windowed, Yep.
So I don't know how that happened. Like maybe he hit an extension on his keyboard by accident. Maybe he accidentally came out of his game, and I don't really know. Obviously, the question kind of will always be to be asked, at least for the time being. But that's so unfortunate, man. Really, really sad. But at least we get to see the restart. There's no question as to what would have happened. We actually get to have that the answer solidified.
And there's only a 1-kill lead still for Ninja.
It's an even game. It's an
Hysteria.
even game.
So I mean, come on. I mean, that's not bad at all. So still coming into it. A complete restart, including just again to a complete restart, obviously. Okay, so
we're
that's
from
what
production.
I was about to say complete restart. It blew my mind.
Well, Stream's like, who's he talking to? This guy?
I hear voices in my head. But yeah, so 1-kill lead now, going back into a restarting, obviously. But hey, do we still see a tilted drop? I'll probably say honestly same strategies overall.
Depends on the bus route, of course. Is a big
it depends on the bus route. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, and I know kind of after that game number 1, to me it was a really big question as to what Ninja and Hysteria were going to kind of do. They didn't go towards Shifty Shafts. I think they definitely switch it up. I would say it's always going to be probable, no matter what the situation is. Unfortunately, even if they're up 20, if they're down 20, they're going to tilt the towers a majority of the time. And that's one thing where if you're Ninja and Hysteria in the situation, the major, reason to go Shifty Shafts is because you have that ability to either go Greasy or primarily to go toward Tilt the Towers. So if you have a team of guys who are known for fast-paced play, who are already in Tilt the Towers, pretty much stealing the kills that you would be getting later in that game, I'm not sure if the Shifty Shaft should be your ultimate choice. So, like I said, of course, it's absolutely debated on what the bus route will be. For the most part, Tilted's usually available, but it can happen from time to time where it's not. I would think for Ninja, like I said, in Hysteria, it's an even game. You can kind of go wherever you like. But I think they definitely need to kind of be aware of that aggressiveness that King Richard and Aimbotcalvin are always going to have. If they go to the towers, maybe you want to counter that by going to at least a decently populated place. You don't want to go off, to a Moisty Mire. You don't want to go off to a Wailing Woods because you're going to be down early. Like I said, the play is to play aggressive, but also to kind of find the happy medium.
One thing I wanted to ask. Myth and Hamlinz are still in the tournament, right?
Yes,
They're just in loser bracket. So I actually got an update from a Twitter user who didn't follow me on Twitter.
Shout him out.
What's
the at?
At MaxJudge14 tweeted at me.
Shout out to Max.
And he says Myth just got 24 kills too, apparently.
Wow.
So we missed a game.
Tied.
So he got 24
boy.
kills. So the solo we saw it broken tonight by High Distortion, ended up being tied by Miss. So shout out to MaxJudge14 on Twitter for giving me the update at Reflection.
And make sure to follow this guy, Max.
Hey, look, Ed Reflections is all I'm saying. But of course,
oh boy.
But seriously, thanks for that. I mean, come on, 24 kills coming in from
That's
him. Obviously, we
insane.
can't stream every single match, but I mean that's big to be able to tie that.
And for TSM, you're like, okay, great, we got two of our boys.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
breaking the
absolutely.
record.
Yeah.
That's a great
It's
point.
fantastic.
TSM's
So-
happy right now. Yeah.
And this is a massive props, right, to a lot of organizations who are obviously in the Fortnite game early. We talk about FaZe, TSM, Cloud9, like you can name a number of different organizations. At least in Friday Fortnite, TSM and FaZe have been kind of high priority, users and whatnot. A lot of talent along a lot of the members of those organizations and stuff, and just gives all the credit to them to see how well their players are performing in games.
Yes, indeed. And it looks like the bus route is over tilted, so that is a possibility for King Richard and Aimbotcalvin, and their drop looks like they could be threatening it. Absolutely. Ninja and Hysteria look like they're going to be going to the outskirts once again.
Yeah, very interesting strat here.
This looks like Shifty again.
Yeah.
But
it's not
King Richard and Aimbotcalvin
tilted for for Richard and Calvin. They're not
going.
tilted.
Looks like they're going shifty too.
Shifty times 2.
Shifty times 2. We're going to see
Wow,
both teams
here
going
we go.
there.
I like
That's
this. I really do.
interesting.
Or no, they switch up to
Oh.
Greasy.
I think Ninja's at least thinking about it, but Hysteria's so far in Shifty. I think he was like, "You want to go Greasy?" And Hysteria's like, "I'm already here, bro." And he's like, oh, "Okay, I'll go and land here."
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I think this favors Ninja and Hysteria, who, in my opinion, have a better mid and late game. So this is really they're playing for late game right here, and they're trying to keep up kill for kill with Ninja and Hysteria, which is pretty tough to do given their teamwork.
But I think this, like, while you're in Shifty Shafts right now, I think for Aimbotcalvin and King Richard, they're like, hey, this is a race. We're trying to get loot, and we are trying to head toward Tilted as fast as humanly possible. That's what a lot of teams do, right? Shifty, the major portion of this is to go toward Tilted Towers, hang on the outskirts, try to find some kills. Like I said, Tilted Towers, it's surrounded by mountains. There's a reason for that, right? You want to be able to zoom in with your ARs, your snipers, etc., and kind of aim down at the opponents who happen to be in a very risky spot, it's fair to say. So curious to see how fast these rotations get made and who does it first.
Right, absolutely. And I just want to point out to you guys out there, maybe if you're watching, King Richard, you might be questioning, why did he drink that chug jug off the rip? Well, because it takes too much time to drink it. And off the initial start, if you find it, getting that 100 shield right off the bat, especially when you're pushing for these kills, is hugely beneficial. So anytime you get a chug jug in the beginning, sometimes it's better just to drink it off the bat instead of holding it in your possession for future rounds. And as you see, it's paying off. Right now, he would have been less than 50 health, but now he's still sitting pretty at 100 health plus 50 shield. But already, Aimbotcalvin is in fact going, or is that Hysteria?
Grab the med kit.
No, it's Aimbotcalvin.
Oh,
Aimbotcalvin
no.
is going to go down.
Oh, down. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Aimbotcalvin goes down,
Easy
and
back
that
up,
is going to be a huge momentum boost
Yeah.
for Ninja and Hysteria, as now they are going to be able to push through for the kills here at Shifty Shafts.
And while that loot was on the ground, there was such a huge opportunity where King Richard could have grabbed it, and unfortunately the med kit gets picked up from Ninja. So it's, I believe, unless Aimbotcalvin has some decent medding opportunities, some shields in his back pocket, he's sitting at 30 at the least for the time being. So it looks like he did rock some bandages, so going to be at 75, I believe, or rocking something along those lines. But yeah, man, there was an opportunity to grab that med kit, at least to have it in your back pocket. But Ninja's there to steal it away.
That chug jug, if you hold that, that'd be a good situation right now for Calvin as well.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
It's hindsight is 2020 here, but it's gonna be Ninja and Hysteria who pick up 2 kills as a team. I think Aimbotcalvin only got 1. I think it was a squad of 3, I believe. If not, it's tied 2-2. We'll keep an eye for that scoreboard and try to keep you guys updated as much as possible. Now we have to. This is where it gets interesting. I think Ninja and Hysteria are great at rotating. Obviously, game 1 we were a little bit critical of their rotations, but we'll see what they do now. Looks like they're leaning over towards Greasy. They want to clean up the kills over at Greasy Grove. You'd expect that to be a little bit filled since the bus went right over it. Meanwhile, you already know where King Richard and Aimbotcalvin
Oh, yeah.
are.
You already know.
And this is the totally different play styles, right? When it comes down to these games, I know you've been touching on a lot, Fallout, the passive play at Hysteria and Ninja throughout, or especially Ninja throughout a lot of our Friday Fortnite tournaments, and the speed that we see coming from King Richard and Aimbotcalvin a high majority of the time. And this is where we start to see a lot in competitive how these play styles match up against one another, and we'll see how it works out for either of these two squads.
Absolutely so. Is already an engagement happening as King Richard does get a knock. Second one inside of the pawn shop, trying to just pick off the head through the windows, and unfortunately not able to connect enough, but finally does get the elimination. As you see Aimbotcalvin coming in the back to pick up the elimination too. But very curious to see how this split is going to work. Obviously, two hotly contested areas. We're seeing now a squad in front of Ninja as they are just running like zombies straight into him as he's just picking them off one by one, and that's not what you want to do. You got to build up, guys, but Aimbotcalvin is down once again. Hopefully we'll get on to his perspective and see what's happening here. Is once again, King Richard is going to have to pick him up. Hopefully, Aimbotcalvin is and he's gone. He's been thirsted. He's down, and now King Richard in the position to try and keep the team alive to push them forward in this loser bracket.
Ooh, nice knockdown though, and this is what we talked about. Of course, if you weren't just watching, we did have to go on with a full restart because of Ninja's game unfortunately crashing. But this is the exact same scenario right before the restart. We talked about it was King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. They were sitting inside Tilted Towers. Aimbotcalvin happens to go down, and King Richard can't be there for the res because of how many players are in Tilted Towers at all time. We talk about this strategy, right? Living on the edge. It's a high risk. It's a high reward play. Unfortunately, in this situation, the reward isn't exactly there. While you're finding the kills, they're great. It's necessary. There are still so many players up, and just like that, King Richard falls, and in one pump to the face, as fast as that shot happens, just as fast as this series is going to conclude, as it will be Hysteria and Ninja who are going to move on.
Well, that's going to be it. I mean, we talked about it in the beginning. Ninja and Hysteria. Ninja especially is hungry for a first-place victory. He hasn't had it yet. The closest he's got is second place, but so was King Richard and Aimbotcalvin. They performed well, exception throughout our tournaments, and today I have to say was the most solid playing I've ever seen from King Richard, and really showcasing his skills have improved dramatically. Great performance from him. Very happy with how he performed overall, as well as Aimbotcalvin. But got to tell you, Hysteria, though, is a solid player as well. Really complementing Ninja's play style, too, and kind of one of those underrated players, too, that's pushing up. And he's going to get even bigger and bigger within the competitive scene. But great stuff. 21-20 as you see it, as we know. A couple more kills needed to be done, and that's going to be GG. GG.
One thing that I noticed as well is that you look at the top left. I know from Aimbotcalvin, while he is obviously spectating right now, he is dead. I saw the kind of mics flaring a little bit, which means they're probably communicating to each other, probably saying good game or whatever it may be. Ninja's probably saying, hey, guys, thanks for the restart, et cetera, stuff like that. It's always good to see the positive kind of reinforcement, the GGs, of course, all around for both of our competitors, because talk about a heck of a tournament. And also, in some cases as well, this is a nice little proving ground for Ninja as well. Hasn't had the greatest of placements in our last few tournaments. Of course, his prior teammate was actually King Richard. And I believe since their kind of breakup, of course, of being a duo in our tournaments, as the nice little snipe comes in there from Ninja, is that King Richard actually won the last duel that he had versus Ninja. So now it's kind of even between those two players as well.
Right.
And like I said, it was at that one point when they were in Shifty Shafts, it was a matter of who's going tilted, who's going toward Greasy Grove. It's another matter of the passive kind of play, the outskirts play kind of working out, similar to our last series. They had J-Mock and Thieves. They go toward the west, toward Tilted Towers. The opposite team ended up going kind of hanging out toward Retail Row. They stay alive, get the advantage, which actually happened to be Aimbotcalvin and King Richard. Funny enough, in this situation, roles reverse now. But I don't know, man. Not that I'm always hating on Tilted Tower play by any means, but it is a high-risk, high-reward play. And a lot of the times, kind of toward the later parts of our tournament, the pressure's on, you start to feel it. And in back-to-back games, well, one of them did count. You see one player get eliminated early, and the other has to try to lead up to that, and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely so. And I don't know. What do you got to say about it?
Yeah, it's always a tough situation. I gotta say, I respect the fact that King Richard did lose with such class and was willing to hit that restart with such class. And again, phenomenal performance from him. I'm excited to see Ninja and Hysteria continue because I think they've played pretty well. Their match that they had in winners bracket that they lost was a close one against High Distortion. That was an epic game itself, and I'm excited to see what they can do in losers bracket. That's for sure. But slowly but surely, we're working our way back to High Distortion and Avery, who are sitting I believe, in the losers bracket final.
Yep.
Waiting for the losers bracket to advance. I'm excited for that matchup for sure, but interested to see how Ninja and Hysteria can move on.
Well, if you guys thought we were going to commercial break, you are wrong. We're hopping into the second game here now. Of course, in the quarter, are we quarters or semis? We're in this
loser semis.
Loser semis here is we have Myth and Hamlinz, who's going to be playing against Vicstar as well as Noah J. So that's definitely going to be a good matchup here. We just heard from one of my Twitter guys who doesn't follow me, but at least he tweeted at me good stuff from him. At least he told me Myth earlier picked up a 24-kill game, which is great. And I don't know if it was in this series, but if so, you got to think about the lead that they potentially have. But I can only imagine this is the second game. We're figuring out if this is the first or second game, but nonetheless, though, we're just starting it off. You're going to get to see the beginning of it. And we do have 1 kill there for Myth at the top, and the no kills. That's really the only kill we see.
And so far, we see one team drop in Salty Springs. Surprise, surprise. That's TSM. And then, of course, Vicstar and Noah J dropping Retail Row. So 2 very good high-traffic spots to drop, and it's going to be an interesting rotation after the fact as they'll be trailing each other. Something tells me they're both going to head over towards Dusty Divot, which is the popular area. We've seen TSM go there quite often, but Vicstar is going to get tagged up here. Playing against some default skins here, going to pick up some easy kills, but he has only 21 HP to his name. Needs to be a little bit cautious in this one.
Yeah, same thing for Myth. Very high kind of priority area. Of course, rocking the TAC SMG and shutting down what I call an Iron Man, but able to make it look a little bit easy. But other players coming forward. Of course, that man is dropped. He's not finally eliminated. These are probably the teammates missing a few shots. I don't know how that player managed to escape a few of those bullets, but picking up those clingers is Myth and having to start a rebound. We talked about, being these high priority areas, Retail Row, Salty Springs. Well, they're nice picks. From time to time, they're obviously kind of those in between, right? It's not necessarily Tilted Towers, but it's not a Moisty Mire, right? It's kind of in that middle ground area where obviously we talk about, overall competitive players, even fans of the game as well who grind the game out. They're very familiar when it comes to Salty Springs. We've been highlighting this strategy from TSM, who kind of made it famous in our tournaments for a very, very long time. And you've got to imagine the competitive kind of format, the kind of overall, the strategies will start to kind of digress to public players as well.
Yeah, looks like Vicstar has to go to work here, and he's doing just that. As looks like we are, in fact, in game number 2. Current score 24-18 is a nice little sizable lead for TSM. And of course, even better that Noah J is down, and
so is Vicstar, I believe.
Vicstar is down too. Yes, Vicstar. We're going to see now what's on his screen is, of course, a little bit delayed, and he does, in fact, go down. Wow. Still with the smile on his face, though. Always a happy guy, I got to say, from him. Love Vicstar, and he comes to our tournaments and he plays. But that's GG. Myth and Hamlinz, TSM, they're going to be moving on in this tournament.
Wow, man.
Their next match, now correct me if I'm wrong, most likely wrong, and that's okay. They're going to be going against Ninja as well as Hysteria.
Yeah,
I think that's
in the loser semi.
Yes,
we are in loser semi, I believe. Yeah.
I think that's
unless
there's
one other team along the way, but I think that is it.
No, I think that's it.
Yep.
We were just in quarters, and now, of course, we're going to be picking up the bracket
that's
here.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's going to be it. So, of course, that's going to be a dominant matchup there. And then, of course,
Very
like
excited,
you said, going against Avery and High Distortion in that final one.
I'm so excited.
There's amazing 3 games left.
Don't we always talk about that? We always hit on that.
But I'm more excited than usual for these, just because I don't know what it is, man. But High Distortion has become one of my favorite players.
You don't know what it is. Maybe a 24 bomb he dropped earlier.
Something like that. But also with Myth, right? Myth also dropped 24 kills a series ago, probably versus maybe it was like TBNR Frags and TBNR Kenny. But yeah, man, what a game we have for winners, semis. Of course, got winners finals. I think grands. I mean, if you haven't already tweeted out the stream, it is time. Twitch.tv/UMG events. So many fantastic games to come. I'm stoked. I don't know about you guys. I know we're a little bit tired. It's been a long day of fantastic Fortnite action, but I'm rejuvenated. I'm stoked. Hope you guys are as well. It's been a fantastic night.
That was pure excitement, by the way, coming out from Landon.
I
just
love
gotta
Fortnite
say,
competitive.
That was none of
that
was acting. That was genuine. He is like genuinely pumped up. I like the raw emotion that we just got from you, but. Fallout, obviously, you're excited, too, about these final matches coming up, and we're nearing the end of it. But this match is going to be a big one. Some Titans are going to fall. Some Titans are going to move. So
Myth and Hamlinz against Ninja and Hysteria. Yeah. It's going to be an amazing. It's a rematch from earlier in the tournament. Or am I going crazy there? Lower side of the bracket?
Not too sure.
I know lower side. We'll pull that out.
I appreciate the honesty.
Not too sure.
Again, has been a long day. Again, I do appreciate the honesty. It is a rematch from Winners Round 3. You got confirmation. Of course, Ninja and Hysteria got the best of them there, but so many times before in Friday Fortnites, we've seen the team that won the Winners Bracket initial lose in that losers bracket as the other team was able to counter them a little bit better. Of course, two very different styles of play. We know Myth and Hamlinz love to drop salty, high traffic area. Ninja and Hysteria like to play a little bit more passive. We've seen them drop Motel. We've seen them drop Triple Decker. Go to super villains later.
Everywhere, man.
Everywhere, yeah, literally everywhere. I think Crates and Risky. So very different styles of play. I think it's going to be a lot to break down. I'm so excited for this next match.
Absolutely.
It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. And, of course, guys, we're going to go to a little break here. But when we come back, we're going to have a monumental matchup between two Titans. You got to tweet it out using the hashtag Friday Fortnite, guys. It's only going to get better from here. We got potentially four final matches. Of course, we always see a bracket reset in the grand finals. Will we see it tonight? But, hey, who's going to move on to play FaZe in the grand finals? I don't know. You have to stay tuned. But we'll be right back, guys, after this commercial break.
Amazing.
Absolutely. And, of course, guys, we're going to go to a little break here. But when we come back, we're going to have a monumental matchup between two Titans. You got to tweet it out using the hashtag Friday Fortnite, guys. It's only going to get better from here. We got potentially four final matches. Of course, we always see a bracket reset in the grand finals. Will we see it tonight? But, hey, who's going to move on to play FaZe in the grand finals? I don't know. You have to stay tuned. But we'll be right back, guys, after this commercial break. Hey, you guys thought you were going to be waiting another 20 seconds, didn't you? No, we like to keep you on your toes here at UMG Events. We're into the game here. This is going to be the game of the Titans. Ninja and Hysteria going against Myth and Hamlinz. It has come down to this, of course, to move on to play for the $3,000 minimum prize and a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's tagged up here. Looks like he has some bandages. Med kit in the hands of Hamlinz, so he'll be okay. Someone's just completely standing still in the front yard right there, so Hamlin's going to pick up an easy kill. Drops the med kit? No, he doesn't. They're going to hold on to that med kit.
And one thing that's a little bit worrisome right now, at least for me, is that while Ninja and Hysteria obviously go to where they did, Myth and Hamlinz' overall spot by going Pleasant Park totally counters what play that we see from Ninja and Hysteria off the break. Granted, it's not a crazy overall beginning. Like, it's 2 frags in the hands of TSM, at least off for right now. But I think in general, if you're looking at the other side, landing zones, yet again, Ninja and Hysteria are kind of getting countered.
Well, the thing is it gives them positioning. They may not have the most frags at this point, but they have position over Ninja and Hysteria, who now are going to be moving in, just passing up Modern.
Right.
So you get, Myth and Hamlinz, they have a little bit of leeway because they're going to know, okay, there's players over here, there's players over there, there's players everywhere, right? So they'll be pushing forward and trying to find. But you notice the loot. The inventory, at least for Hamlinz, is very dark. I mean, you got a
seriously, it's very great,
very dark.
Abysmal, truly.
You've got of course a medkit in his back pocket, but you have the blue shotty, which kind of makes up for it. But you only have a gray sub. But still, though, it's Hamlinz. I mean, who am I kidding? This guy just picked up another kill and rocking it with the faces of the pump shotgun and sitting at 2 kills overall. So slow start for both teams, I would have to say. Slower start for Ninja and Hysteria, but still the rotation is where it matters.
Yep. Meanwhile, Hysteria finally going to pick up a second kill here. He's going to start popping off here. It's 2-4 is the count again. Those extra 2 kills is the extra 45 seconds or a minute that Hamlinz and Myth had in Pleasant Park before Ninja and Hysteria were able to rotate over. So, again, I question that drop all the way over towards the triple-decker house. Instead of just dropping straight to Pleasant, I think you would be a lot more efficient. But only 2 kills behind. We have a long game ahead of us. Mid-game and late game, the rotation's coming through, and it looks like it is going to be Hamlinz that is slightly ahead on that rotation over to Tilted.
Yes, and it is, in fact, going to be that tilted rotation, which would be hugely beneficial at this point. They give them an advantage for some more kills, but do see a wrap being built up. Do we have a jump pad in Ninja's back pocket, or at least some traps, or at least a jump trap in his back pocket too, but still trying to get those kills off ahead, and actually just built that to kind of get a little vantage point. He's going to go ahead and jump down and join his teammate, as it looks like both teams might be heading over towards Loot Lake. We might see a little difference on that split mountain, but definitely see where they're going. Slow start, very slow start, probably one of the slowest starts of tonight.
Yep, only 5-2 now is the score in this one. You guys see the scoreboard on your screen as well. So different rotations, but similar, but the same spot, same end goal. One team goes over towards Loot Lake, tries to see if they can spot anyone along the way. And, of course, Myth and Hamlinz just want to V-line straight to Tilted Towers and see if they can get there for some early kills here. Looks like Hysteria is going to be pushing top factories. Not sure if he's just picking up some loot or spot someone, but I think it's just going for loot here, as they both are about half shields. They are going to spot someone at Loot Lake, though, so a smart rotation, cutting through Loot Lake to pick up some kills on the way.
Yeah, that was a nice play, right? We talk about when it comes to Ninja and Hysteria, kind of get countered off the break by not having that early pleasant rotation. Why? Because that's exactly where TSM goes. So the way that they kind of counter that in the future of this game, right, is to kind of go toward those factories a little bit faster than TSM. So kind of a back-and-forth type of style. Granted, while it doesn't really overall play out as far as the kills are considered that Ninja and Hysteria probably would have preferred, at least they're kind of thinking about the future of the games. Because I feel like in back-to-back series, they have been getting countered as far as their landings are considered. Obviously, they close out the first match where that obviously takes place, but still looking on for the future, every single kill matters, and obviously, you're kind of going for the passive play at the start. Got to respect it, but at the same time, though, when it kind of comes down to a lot of our victories, sometimes they come down to 2, 3, 4 kills, and that could be exactly what TSM is getting in these initial fights by countering the strats of Ninja and Hysteria.
Yeah, that's a good point. What they want to point out about this Loot Lake rotation is, yes, you can spot some people in there, but it just takes so long to finish those kills. Ninja and Hysteria actually aren't even going to finish the kill of the individual that they downed, because that person's down in the water. You have no idea where they are. So I divert back to your guys' genius idea: freeze over the lake, call it a day. Let's make Loot Lake great again, or viable again.
Freeze Loot Lake. That's definitely something we need to do. It would be, I don't know, it'd be kind of fun. We got a lot of ideas over here at UMG Events, including the race, the NASCAR race we want to do with the shopping carts once they add those back into the game. But
Love it.
elimination is, in fact, going to be in the hands of Hysteria, as he is going to look to piok off this player just ahead, sitting at 3 total kills. We're having a massive kill battle. Massive frag battle as a player is going to be dropped. That's going to be Myth going down, as we'll look at his screen up top right and see what happened here.
My gosh,
just that
Ninja.
Player just turned around the corner and got him. Can Hamlinz come to the rescue? But Ninja, like you said, Landon, he's low on health himself.
Yeah, he's 16 HP. Oh my gosh, goes for the dive. It's just a little bit worrisome. Like I said, he's one of the best recovery builders in the game, but that can't stop me from being a little bit, I'm on the edge of my seat when he does stuff like that. But also finds the gold heavy off the ground. That's a fantastic pickup to have, along with the blue pump, or the blue tack rather. He's got a fantastic loadout looking forward. Of course, we do see Myth back in the game. He's rezzed up. He's ready to go. Got some bandages in his back pocket. But I believe, so Ninja does, as far as the utility, as far as getting back kind of at their HP, while Myth is obviously grabbing a little bit of those bandages, it looks like Ninja did get handed over a med kit. So at least for Ninja and Hysteria's point of view, they're looking pretty good as far as most things are considered. But when it comes down to Myth and Hamlinz, not one shield combined for both of these two.
We are tied at 7 apiece right now. One thing with Myth going down, that gave all the loot essentially to Hysteria and Ninja as Hamlinz had to go for that revive. So luckily Myth is going to find some loot at the top of Castle, picks up that loot, and they're in a much better spot here, but some solid rewards for Ninja and Hysteria as they pick up that initial loot during the revive.
7 up is going to be the score. Very close indeed as the engagements are going down, as we see now 22 remaining as they're going to be breaking out of Tilted, crossing over that riverside towards, once again, Split Mountain, as we talked about that, Landon. You actually came up with that Split Mountain, which is good because we see the players, including ourselves.
It's a terrible name, too. It's just because players usually split.
they usually split up. I mean, we got to give call-outs to certain mountains, right? But they will, in fact, be splitting over to the left. And I think the other team is splitting over to the right. So it does live up to its name.
Much better than ice. I call the big mountain over by Fatal Fields Ice Cream Mountain. So I think
Ice Cream Mountain. I like that,
too. There's an ice cream truck up there. So Split Mountain's a little better than that.
Okay.
One's a little more childish than the other. I like that call-out.
You know what?
I don't know, man.
I respect it. Whatever works.
The lack of uniqueness, I feel like, with my personal call.
Split, banana split. Hey, I like it.
Okay.
See, look,
ice cream.
Next level plays coming out. I'll be here all night. Or at least until the grand finals are over.
You're legally obligated, actually. I'm just kidding.
That is a fact.
All jokes aside.
No, that's the serious.
But as far as like how this game has gone up to this point, it's kind of been like each other trying to counter. Like it's kind of like a matter of both teams trying to be ahead of the other. We talked about the initial play coming through with Myth and Hamlinz kind of countering the initial play of going toward Pleasant Park first. From there, we see Ninja and Hysteria kind of go toward those outer factories outside of Loot Lake first. From there, TSM counters by going toward Tilted Towers first, and now it's a matter of where we're going next. And it's kind of been an interesting fight to see who's trying to get the advantage in certain situations, as I believe we have kind of at least a little bit of a separation between all 4 of our players, but it's kind of been overall a chess game for the most part, countering what the other team is doing and trying to constantly be ahead of the opposition for the most part.
Yeah, and actually 2 different decisions here. We thought they were both rotating over towards the east side of the map, but Ninja and Hysteria decided to cut back towards Dusty Divot, whereas Myth and Hamlinz push over towards Salty Springs. They're both going to find some players. I thought I liked the idea of Ninja's rotation a little bit better because they're going to find some people coming over from the risky side of the map, but it looks like a squad was found for Myth and Hamlinz now. Myth is tagged up, though. Needs to be a little bit cautious in this fight. Looks like he's playing against some builders and some players that can shoot straight here as they're a little bit split as well. So finally, Hamlinz is going to down 1. Of course, as I say that, these people are getting caught in the middle of the open and getting completely tagged up, maybe not knowing how to build as much as I thought they did.
Hamlinz getting the high ground over this player just above. He does get tagged up, but manages to finish off the kill. And, of course, more coming in as Myth picks up a kill, too, himself. So we're going to see Myth that's sitting at 5 and 5, total of 10 on the right side and 8 on the left. But as I say that, Myth is, in fact, going to be dropped from the back. Hamlinz has to go huge here. This player is, in fact, going to be pushing up. He should be fine, especially he's out of mats, too. He's forced to push this player, but luckily this player is fighting with a pencil, and that is not going to be enough, especially against a man like Hamlinz, who will finish him off. But, of course, that was just a knock. Who else
take a look at the top left. Ninja actually got taken down when we were taking a quick gander at Hamlinz's screen. Ninja is down for the count, and now it's up to Hysteria in a 1 versus 2. Oh, my goodness. As we fade away from his screen, you see the sadness on his face because he realizes how much of a deficit and how dire that is in a situation such as this.
Well, Hysteria still remains. Of course, that he's just going to join up now with the duo of Myth and Hamlinz from TSM. They are going to be their protection squad. He's also going to try and be a thorn in their side and steal their kills, but he looks like he has a different plan as a player is, in fact, going to be building just above him. He's trying to get that high ground. Will he manage to get it? This player is definitely solid whenever it comes to building, and we have a nice build. This is Hysteria in his prime. He's able to build over that player looking down. He manages to get the high ground. Exactly what he wanted to do. The RPG in his hands. He's trying to spot where is this player turtling up at. Maybe just below is firing, not deciding to fire.
He actually lost his high ground there.
He did lose his high ground, but I think the player
dropped all the way to the bottom. He's assuming.
May have dropped all the way to the ground, but look at his mats, though. He's only at 35 mats, and actually high ground is there, and his player is, in fact, going to drop, get some dings on him, but not enough to take him out, take some shots, but finally is able to secure the kill. And with Ninja down, he needs to get as many kills as he possibly can, especially against the savagery of Myth and Hamlinz.
The savagery, indeed. also, I believe, finds a nice little gold scar off the ground. Not by That's a nice little pickup, especially being at a deficit. I mean, any little bit can help, and by having the greatest weapon in the game at the moment, at least from a long range, right, it is pretty nice. And we talk about close range, long range as well. Also has the gold heavy, which is pretty nice by and everyone's, I think it's fair to say, estimations. But looking on here, obviously we see a pretty decent advantage for the TSM boys. But I believe, just like that, the knockdown comes forward from Hysteria, player behind the tree. The rocket comes forward, and I believe was there 2 players back there?
No, that was. Oh no, actually, excuse me. He got another knock. You're right. So he got an elimination plus a knock.
Bends the rocket behind the tree.
A split second there. If there was collateral damage in Fortnite, that would have been a double headshot, which would have been absolutely disgusting. But collateral damage does not exist in this game as it does in others. That was a nice headshot, regardless, from Hysteria. Sorry, to down 1. Picks up the rocket kill following, and he's doing a good job keeping up right now. 5 kills and 8 kills in the hands of Myth and Hamlinz. I believe Ninja had 5 or 6 before he died as well, so they're only behind by a few kills. Hysteria needs to do everything in his power to keep in this one.
And he's doing just that as we see the engagement dwindling away. Only 8 remaining as we see a massive push coming in, but it looks like that's going to be Hamlinz picking up the first kills just behind Hysteria's. And again, Myth firing some shots from down above and seeing what's happening here as he will, in fact, push his player in. Another kill in the hands of Hysteria as he's doing everything in his power. This 1-by-1, though, this player is just sticking it out, but he goes down as well, and I believe that was Hamlinz who got that kill as they are fighting tooth and nail for every single potential kill.
Yeah. Hysteria, I think that was a 2-for-1 right there. Hysteria's able to take out 1 kill to TSM's 2, which is a pretty decent ratio if he can keep up at that pace, or maybe not right now. He has a little bit of a jump ahead of TSM right now. He might be able to pick up 2 or 3 kills against this squad upcoming. Easy headshot picked up for Hysteria. Well spotted and well placed snipe right there from him. He spots 1 more. Needs to try and secure this kill. He might be going for a quick revive, so grenades are going to come in to try and diminish that opportunity, and he's going to get 1. He gets a second. Hysteria doing exactly what he needs to do to keep in this one as he was able to get the early jump on TSM. It looks like TSM did find some additional individuals in fighting across map.
And one thing that's nice, right, in the situation for Hysteria is that we talk about Ninja and their overall play as a team. They're not the most aggressive squad in the world, and nearly on the edges, the sniper bullets whistling past the ear of that unfortunate enemy as Myth does get taken down for the count. Of course, top right of our screen, we'll see what happens. At the same time, Hamlinz from afar is picking up these frags, and I believe, yes, Myth will be taken out, but not without a fight, though. Hamlinz was there, but kind of getting back to a little bit of a point, one thing that's nice for Hysteria is that as he's kind of diminishing a little bit of this lead, or at least kind of hanging in there, that's also going to allow him and Ninja to kind of play their game, which isn't necessarily the super aggressive, tilted towers, retail row type of pushes. This is a team who likes to hang back, and as long as he's bringing this game to more of a level playing field and allowing it not to go super far, this can help them out so much, but Hamlinz ends up getting taken down. Will he be thirsted? It doesn't really matter because he doesn't have a teammate to help him by any means, and from afar, Hysteria gets the knock onto 1 at 66 meters away, and yes, now I believe actually a 1v3 in total when it comes down to the players alive. He spotted yet again another player just off toward his western side. Of course, going to go and grab a few of these shields, trying to be readied up. And keep in mind, boys, he does have that bounce trap, trying to escape away and trying to reevaluate the situation.
Yeah, back on reset. He's going to be able to knock the cover. Looks like whoever he's playing against is a pretty solid player as well. That's the one who took out Hamlinz just moments ago. Hysteria, all eyes on him right now. They could take a 2-kill lead if he can clutch up here. Going to get up against some very quality players. Hysteria of Cloud9, who, by the way, is being represented in Friday Fortnite, I believe, for the first time right now, needs to go big. Did someone just get knocked from a fall? Yes, he did. He's going to pick up the kill there. That's huge. Now a 1-versus-1 opportunity to go up by 2 kills when he's been in a 1-versus-2 for the second half of this game. What a great performance from Hysteria, and not going to connect for any assault rifle shots right there. Looking to try
the weak point.
He's got to get it at this
point.
Yes, he
does.
Knocks him down. Wow. Great stuff. Hysteria showing why he's on Cloud9 and also showing his fans, hey, I'm here to stay. Cloud9, of course, very proud of the performance that he just had. And single-handedly, of course, Ninja gets dropped early, but now he single-handedly kept the team alive. They're going in with a 2-kill lead going into the second game, and that's absolutely massive because when you think a player goes down against a solid Titan team like TSM, you're thinking, oh, they're going to take off. I mean, they're just going to continue getting kills. but obviously not the case here going against a solid squad of Ninja and Hysteria. Great stuff. Now we're going into round number 2, 2-kill deficit for TSM.
Yeah. And at least thankfully in that last situation with the players who did take down TSM, one of them happened to, I don't know what exactly took place, but had to take fall damage, and Hysteria gets kind of a free frag. But in the overall scheme of things, what I was kind of bringing up, it was the factor of, we talked about Ninja and Hysteria, their play style isn't to be super aggressive. So if Hysteria doesn't go off, find 13 eliminations, they're kind of having to get out of their comfort zone for the most part, which in any team's point of view, it's not their most favorable spot, not something that they want to do. And at least so far throughout this tournament, I don't know if they're necessarily prepared to want to go toward these high priority zones or high priority areas, if they haven't even done it in this tournament as of yet. So I think for them, this also helps to have a little bit of a cushion heading into game number 2, but also the factor of not having to kind of get out of your comfort zone and having to try something that you haven't done throughout the entire tournament also helps very much too. So all the props to Hysteria for keeping him and Ninja back in this game, and also, along with that, giving them the lead. So a fantastic play from Hysteria all the way around.
Yep. No, I completely agree. Now that begs the question of where do you drop in game number 2? I know Myth and Hamlinz are known to play a little more aggressive. 100% can guarantee that Ninja and Hysteria with a 2-kill lead, a little bit of a cushion there, are going to play passive, I think. I think they go back to Salty Springs. I think we can expect the same old strat we're used to seeing out of Myth and Hamlinz, depending on where the bus flies.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the bus is going to be obviously a huge factor as it always is. But based on what we see here, I mean, where haven't we seen Ninja go for the most part besides the outskirts?
It's covered all aspects of the map.
Of all the games that we've seen Ninja and Hysteria go,
it hasn't dropped tilted yet.
That's true. I mean, everyone on the outskirts, where else could they go besides where they've gone already?
Exactly.
Right? It's just a matter of them playing their play and
Lonely Lodge. That's an area, right?
It's an area. Yeah, exactly.
Probably not the correct area to go to, but it is definitely on the map.
It exists. Yeah.
It does exist. It does exist.
I will say, based on the bus, though, I think if TSM were to go toward the Salty Springs area, I don't know, if I'm Ninja and Hysteria, I wouldn't really hate on going maybe a place that's a little bit out of culture, but maybe just kind of toward the eastern side of the map as well, just to maybe not have to worry about being on the opposite side of the map. Having that kind of 4-squad duo, I think Ninja and Hysteria are going to prefer, rather than going toward Junk Junction in the top left, rather than a typical Salty Springs play from TSM. So I think if there was a play for them to make, and of course debating on the bus, if we see a typical Salty play from TSM, I don't think we're going to see Ninja and Hysteria go that far away, meaning a totally opposite location, whatever it may be. Of course, like I said, it does debate on the battle bus and whatnot, but I think it will be interesting to see where Ninja and Hysteria go. It's only a 2-kill advantage, so it's nothing to really be delighting yourself too much. It's half a squad. It means nothing.
Game 2 is everything.
Game 2 is everything, and not to mention this game is everything. This is a bubble match, and for you guys who don't know what that means, whoever loses this is out of the money. Whoever wins it will be, in fact, guaranteed at least $3,000. But on top of that, too, give a little bit of history, a backstory. TSM, Myth, and Hamlinz have, in fact, won a Friday Fortnite before, so they're trying to go for the 2-time win, which would tie FaZe. But, of course, FaZe is in winners, and they're trying to go for the 3-time win. Yeah. So a lot of history trying to be made. And on top of that, too, Ninja has best placement, got second place in a Friday Fortnite. He's now trying to go for first place himself. So a lot riding on the line between all of these players. And not to mention, too, I forgot, Avery as well.
High Distortion.
Avery and High Distortion. Yeah. High Distortion's first tournament. And then Avery as well, his highest placement is second place. So we literally have whoever wins tonight is making history.
Hysteria's first tournament as well. I mean, what better way for Ninja to do it for the very first time than with his longtime buddy Hysteria from the Halo days he competed against and with way back in the day. So exciting stuff. Looks like the drop is about to come. We're going to be jumping into game 2 here as we see on our screens the map. It looks like an early drop comes in from Ninja and Hysteria. They look to be going, I think, towards Fatal Fields.
Yeah, definitely possible. I mean, if they want to kind of hold on and go lucky, potentially. Yeah. I would doubt it based off their early kind of exit, but I know they're definitely not going jail. I've never seen that in all of Friday Fortnite. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be going Fatal Fields, unless kind of around that area. But for it looks like
Pleasant
Myth
Park
and Hamlinz, they're going to be going toward Pleasant, which I think we were both kind of thinking, or all three of us really heading into this game, anything but Salty would be a shock. And I got to say, I'm definitely surprised.
Yeah, it's a late Pleasant Park drop. One thing I'm getting really excited about in this match is they're going to be on complete opposite sides of the map here. So it's going to be really important to keep an eye on every single quadrant of your screen to see how exactly the action is breaking down here, as it's going to be whoever can out-rotate and can out-smart and really out-kill the other team will come out on top here. It's going to be a good one, that's for sure.
This is going to be a weird situation, at least for me, watching Ninja and Hysteria. Yeah. Ninja does pick up a heavy shotgun in his back pocket plus C4. He can make that work. trust me, this guy is like MacGyver. He can just take a rubber band and a pen and just make anything work at that point. But, of course, Hysteria is starting to get some items as well. But being over here at Fatal so open, it's a pretty easy place to take over, especially for talented players such as these two. But still, going to Fatal is interesting. We don't typically see him go Fatal. I think in the first time we ever watched Ninja play, I know he went Fatal with King Richard a couple of times, but we haven't seen it since. Normally they rotate through Lucky to get here, but very interesting to see the two different play styles. Like you said, they're on opposite ends of the map. They're going to converge at least eventually as the circle is going to collapse down, but being so far away from each other, a lot can happen here.
And I noticed whenever Ninja and Hysteria dropped, I'm thinking that maybe, of course, it is a comfort pick for Ninja to want to go toward Fatal Fields. He's used to kind of going toward this position. But I also think it kind of catered in their favor to thinking that, hey, probably TSM's going to go Salty Springs. Ninja's played with Daquan in the past. He's had numerous encounters with the TSM boys, even playing with Myth, playing with Daquan on stream, whatever it really may be. I think he probably had in the back of his mind, he's probably going to go toward this area, and maybe it's TSM pulling out a random call, right? I know for the most part, when it comes down to purely calls, in-game communication, the IGL for TSM for the most part is Myth. So I'm thinking maybe he's, like I said, calling out an audible, doing something a little bit different, trying to catch the enemy off guard, and maybe just trying to establish themselves as a pretty aggressive team. Because so we talk about when it comes to Pleasant Park, it's one of the weekly challenges right now. It's a high priority place. You're going to have quite a bit of action, and we're already seeing that be the case. As Myth already dropping 2.
Yep, looks like Hysteria's going to pick up 1, so 1 kill lead still in the hands of Ninja and Hysteria, but not many people in sight for them. They're obviously banking on a late rotation over towards Salty, trying to pick up everyone that went Retail Row, everyone that went Salty Springs, and really the east side of the map here, as I think the Pleasant Park fight is over as well. So here come the first rotations from both teams. Looks like TSM going, as you'd expect, towards Tilted Towers, Ninja and Hysteria rotating over towards Salty Springs, and they're going to find some action here and momentarily. Keep in mind, the bus was on the east side of the map. Yep. Usually the majority of people drop over the first half of the fall, so it's going to be a lot more people on their side of the map. I think Ninja and Hysteria are well positioned.
Yeah.
Definitely so. That Salty probably had quite a few players there, so as they progress towards it, it's definitely going to be interesting to see if they'll be able to spot anybody over there. They're well kitted up now, but notice that lead is dwindling away, but I don't think that really matters. Like you said, guys, I mean, Myth and Hamlinz being in their position, yeah, they may pick up some kills off the beginning, which we've seen, but going to Loot Lake, obviously, there's not going to be many people home from there. They might hit up Tilted after that. That would probably be their best bet to maybe pick up some kills. But really, the pace of this match is going to be shown right here with Ninja and Hysteria pushing towards Salty. If they pick up a lot of engagements, which they do see players ahead, this could change the pace of the map.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Fallout when it comes down to the overall, like, who has the advantage right now as far as map positioning. Ninja and Hysteria, right? They have the zone in their hands. If you're Myth and Hamlinz, like, right, you do have... Right, you have Tilted Towers, right? You do have that whatever advantage, but for the most part, as far as rotations are considered, if you go Tilted, there's no way you're challenging anything else but that particular position. So I think when you look at Ninja and Hysteria's overall play, as we see constant explosions come through, it is going to be their favor when it comes down to how much of the map is available to them and how they don't really have to move too much, right? If you're Myth and Hamlinz, you got to be aware of that storm at your back at all times, and the amount of clutter that could be coming through here onto the towers could also be a little bit worrisome as well.
Yep, meanwhile, they enter the Tilted fight. I love this change into the POV of Hamlinz, one of the best builders in Fortnite. And you see on your screen him just completely tearing apart. So a couple members in Tilted Towers here, cleaning up the fight here. And they're going to pick up at least 3 or 4 kills in Tilted. So a very, very strong rotation. I think I saw a Myth jump pad in, trying to get there a little bit sooner to pick up more kills if they can. 2 kills for Hamlinz right now. I know Hysteria has 4 to his name. Myth has 3. So it's going to be a 1-kill game. Oh, Ninja actually picked up 2 at Dusty Divot as well. So slight lead right now in favor of Ninja and Hysteria.
And this has been a fast game. You guys notice there's only 21 engagements remaining.
I blinked, and they're in the Dusty Divot already, and Tilted already. I'm like, what happened to the loot?
I was surprised at how quick Myth and Hamlinz got over the Tilted.
Yeah.
I totally, like you said, I blinked and they were at Tilted. I was like, what's going on here? But no, seriously, it works out for the best. Got a very close-knit game. Only a couple of frags remaining in terms of overall kills in this game itself. So it's definitely going to come down to just a few frags between the two teams, and a 24-20 as you see Ninja High Distortion, Hysteria, they've managed to get just a little bit of a lead. 4 kills so far. I mean, that's one squad, but it's not too bad. We're going to see, can Tilted still be fruitful for Myth and Hamlinz?
Definitely the case. Myth, of course, trying to grab the high ground, has the opportunity to take down a few more players. Of course, keeping in mind the Storm at his backside. He is in a pretty favorable spot, trying to find every single player coming toward that western side of the map. All of them have to go through Tilted Towers, and even more than that, they got to go through TSMs. Looks like a few shots toward the backside. The knockdown coming through from both Myth and Hamlinz, two particular, or rather different players, as I believe 3 full eliminations come through at the end of things.
Wow.
And also keep in mind, I love this play coming through from Hamlinz. He actually used to rock the pyramid. You want to talk about the ability and the recent meta change of the mats kind of being taken down a little bit. Instead of rocking the floor, the roof, the full walls around you, that's like 5 or 6 mats from time to time. Just rock one mat, the pyramid. You're totally safe, and you're going to have a little bit of that line sight to where you're not wasting, like I said, 60 mats, you're just wasting 10.
Yeah, that's something so important that you just pointed out. Resource management is going to be so crucial moving on into Fortnite. As we saw, Fortnite just announced that they might be reducing mats to kind of wane off the amount of builds that we see towards the end of games, which has kind of been controversial overall. I want to see how it does pan out. But, yeah, I mean, resource management at this point, being able to just hide under that pyramid, which just costs 10 wood or 10 whatever resource you're using, is hugely beneficial. And to see these players rocking that already, it looks like they're trying to adapt to the ongoing changes we'll see with Fortnite. So good stuff coming from them as we see now more kills and more engagements happening as Hysteria on your screen. He is, in fact, going to be in an engagement, knocking down that base. And can he get the Splo, this player? Definitely building up great defensive builds, but he's going down, and there's Splo to put him at 7 kills. Hysteria has been playing out of his mind this tournament.
Yeah, great position for Hysteria. And I want to call, actually, Ninja and Hysteria call for a split push. So despite the fact that they had a 2-kill lead coming into this game, they were actually at a 2-kill deficit. They call for a split. Ninja went towards Loot Lake, trusting his teammate, his duo, Hysteria, to clean up Retail Row, and he's going to do exactly that. Now it's up to Ninja to do the same thing in his side of the map. I wonder if Ninja's engaging in a fight. Of course he is.
Yeah, looks like he does have the trusty bolt action in his back pocket. I believe witnessing somewhat of a fight, or maybe just squad mates happening to build alongside each other, of course holding hands and being aware that they just made it successfully through the storm.
House in the prairie type of thing.
Absolutely, but not if Ninja has anything to say about it. Of course, a nice little soccer player with a cape, a sniper rifle in hand. Number 2 Esports will give you that opportunity, but nice play coming in from Ninja. Also has the double heavies in his back pocket, one of the most deadly duos in all of Fortnite. And just like that, this Omega should be saying goodnight slowly and surely. There goes 2. And about to be the 3rd, and there goes, I believe, a full squadron nearly down, tossing out the stink bomb.
Oh,
yeah,
stink bomb.
Definitely possible, but this is somewhat of a full squad nonetheless. Takes down 1, and man,
3 kills.
Ninja making it look easy instead of Anarchy.
I'm sorry I was laughing, but I'm just thinking if I was that player getting shot up at Ninja, I'm just like, what is this guy doing? Like, he's building up a puppy. He's double pumping me like it's the most
double heavy.
Double heavy, excuse me. But yeah, that is by far just pristine gameplay. I love it. But
absolutely. And it's interesting here. Now Myth and Hamlinz rotate to Salty. They're going to split 2. But they rotate to Salty, but guess what? Everyone on that side of the map is already dead.
Right.
That was the superior drop from Ninja and Hysteria. So a great rotation of Tilted for TSM. I absolutely love that rotation. They pick up 5 or 6 kills. They had a 2-kill lead. They were looking great. But Ninja and Hysteria call a perfect split, clean up Retail Row on the east side of the map, as well as the north side of the map, as Ninja's able to clean that up. And now Myth is playing a little bit of catch-up, trying to work over towards Ninja.
Yeah, Ninja and Hysteria kind of, at least as far as the outside perspective, kind of, and I think it's fair to say with like the chemistry that they probably have from other esports. You talk about their prior history when it comes into Halo. I think it's fair to say Ninja probably feels a lot more confident with having a teammate he knows has the same experience as him. They probably have the same thought press when it comes into certain situations. And the ability to trust another teammate as well is incredibly important when it comes into Fortnite and in these duo versus squad games that we obviously have as well. So great to see them kind of having that great communication kind of coming forward. And also in other esports as well, which definitely caters over. So.
Yeah, that's the reason I've loved playing with Ribs these past couple of weeks. Is both of us coming to from Gears, same call out, same mentality.
Exactly.
It's, a lot of the same phrases that we used in Gears, things like "fly at these kids" is something that we say very often. And it's always great playing with someone that is like-minded.
Absolutely. Look how many engagements we have. 10 players left to frag as we see both teams. I believe there's only two frags between the two that separate them, and I believe Ninja and Hysteria have just a little bit of a lead, but 2 is not enough to secure a victory, especially against Myth and Hamlinz. So how this circle is going to collapse down the RNG, how it's going to play out is going to be hugely crucial, but it's been such a fast-paced game. You notice how big that circle still is with the amount of engagement still remaining. That's a big circle for there only being 10 players left to frag out. So kind of curious to see how it's going to plan out. It's all about positioning. At this point, you have to split up, and it looks like our players are doing just that.
It's a game of hide and seek at this point.
It really is.
Who can find
it is.
the mouse in the mousetrap, if you will. Hysteria on one side of the map, and him and Hamlinz are kind of a little more close to each other. But really, all 4 players are separated. Hamlinz going to spot one first, though. That is huge. A team of 2 needs to be cautious here. Maybe not, because that guy's just completely standing still. And now Hamlinz should be able to clean this up and tie this game up here if he can do so. Meanwhile, Ninja finds more as well.
Yeah, Ninja throwing out that stink bomb to try and give him bait out that player, and I believe he is in fact getting damaged. And yes, he does get the elimination with the stink bomb, just showing how useful that is. It's absolutely useful. It's hugely beneficial. It clouds your vision. It also just chips away at the health relatively rapidly. We do see a loot llama coming in, especially this late in the game, is in fact going to help out a little bit, just to give him a little resource boost as well as some meds in his back pocket. They're looking good and poised for the final fight. There's only a couple of frags that do separate these 6 players in remaining. If we get a score update, I believe there's 2 kills between the 2 still, as we saw them trade off kills.
One kill game right now.
Maybe even a 1-kill game, as a Ninja does find a player down in Dusty Divot trying to escape that storm, and he gets it. That's going to be a 2-frag lead now with only 4 more engagements remaining. 5 more engagements. This is getting down to the wire.
And look at this. Myth finds one. It comes down to this last fight. I think Myth found a squad here. He's going to damage them up a little bit. A 2-kill lead right now for Ninja, I believe. We'll get that score update. But Myth
this is huge.
Diminish this. All comes down to this fight with Myth right now. The rotations are coming through. He's going to knock one. Can he get the second kill? 1 versus 1 for the tie right now, we believe, is the scoring situation. Myth going to hold his height advantage, playing this very smart. There he is. Tags him up, and that's going to be it. I think we're tied up here.
I think we're tied up at this point. Now we only see 3 total engagements remaining. All players trying to thirst for these final kills. They have split up. They're trying. You see now we got Hamlinz. He's going to be just outside the circle in Retail Row searching. You got Hysteria as well, just outside of Lonely. You've got a Ninja as well coming in Retail Row just to the left of where Hamlinz is at. And Myth, of course, pushing in from the back. And, man, they are all spread apart, all searching for these final kills, knowing how crucial it is. We got a tied game here.
It is tied at 31 apiece. And again, we could not have asked for a better losers bracket semifinal between these 2 teams. Such a close match here in game number 2.
Absolutely is. And one thing that's very crucial right now, obviously, is going to be that communication, in-game leadership, whatever it really may be. We talked about Ninja and Hysteria having that from prior. TSM, of course, you get Myth and Hamlinz, half of the original competitive team going at it as well. Yep. All the call-outs, communication, any vision that you can grab is so important. One player who I've seen, and I really think is probably one of the best in-game communicators, is Hamlinz. Also one of the best at vision as well. But now, heading into this moment where there are only a few frags remaining, it's about being in the mindset of a public match player. Where am I hiding? Yep. Where am I thinking about going? Would I be inside of, outside of Retail Row? Whatever really is the case.
Ninja, if he's able to get this, he will, in fact, I believe, secure at least another kill, and trying so hard, just missing by mere hairs, as we see now. Hamlinz on the left, trying to get it. Hamlinz did, in fact, get one. Myth is pushing in as well with that jump pad. He spots a player, but look at this. Ninja, he's trying to get it as well. But who's that? Myth has the advantage. Myth is going to be even closer.
This is the moment.
Gonna be it. Hamlinz picks up another kill. Who else got it? And I believe that's it.
Yes, that's it. As the rush comes through from Myth, Hamlinz finds the kill.
They got it.
And that's going to be TSM.
Are you
advancing
kidding me?
To the losers finals. They officially knock out Ninja and Hysteria from Friday Fortnite week number 7.
That is unbelievable. You could not ask for a closer match between these 2 Titans. I said it was going to be a Titan matchup, and it in fact was just that. TSM are going to move on. Final score on the screen, 31-34, showing those final kills split. Every player was split up at that point, searching for those kills, and rightly so, they had to. But wow, you talk about the RNG coming in at the end, finding those players and securing the victory. But imagine if Ninja would have hit those snipes.
That's exactly
2 snipes
he
missed
the entire time.
And that's just
you should have, would have, could have. That's inches, and it's 1 kill of the 3 though. So keep in mind there. One thing I was noticing earlier on: 3 players left. As long as all 3 of those frags are picked up, then it's going to be a win, one way or another. We weren't going to see a tie. Right. So 1 kill wouldn't have made the difference necessarily, because Hamlinz and Myth were all over the other kills. But so if I'm Ninja, you can't knock yourself too much. A phenomenal play from them. I like the way they dropped. I like the rotations. I think they played that near perfect. But ultimately, I think that tilted push that came in from TSM got them, I think, 7 or 8 or 9 kills that they needed to take that lead.
And that was a great series as well. It wasn't just necessarily from the killing aspect. It was really the mind games that were going out, game 1, game 2, we talked about at least in game 1, the initial drops, how each team was trying to get the advantage over the other. Like, hey, you push this place first, I'm going to push. Like, we both had the same kind of, mindset when it comes into our next play. I'm going to make the chess move and think, 3 moves, 4 moves prior to you. So, honestly, throughout that entire series, I think we saw some great communication, some great teamwork, but also great minds kind of combining for what was a fantastic losers finals game, or losers semis game as well.
Yeah. And that's only the loser semifinals.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
how much skill and how much knowledge really comes into a lot of these games as well. I mean, I know it kind of came down to a few final frags. We talked about how Ninja and Hysteria, I think, like you said, really couldn't have had a better play call throughout a lot of this match, or throughout a lot of this series as well. But to me, that was like a different type of Fortnite game that really just goes to show how, like, there are a lot of different skills when it comes into Fortnite. You talk about your slays, you talk about like mines, like knowledge of the game as well. To me, that was, along with slays, that was probably one of the better knowledge kind of, mind games that were kind of going on through a Fortnite series that we've had in our Friday Fortnite tournament.
Absolutely, and that will solidify money for sure going to the TSM crew once again, which means that bare minimum they have a total winning of $13,000 for these Friday Fortnites. They've got $10,000 in the past, but they're not going to be satisfied with that, of course. They are pushing for the $20,000. They're pushing the tie-up phase for the 2-time champion, but of course there's still that three-time champion potential for FaZe, as they are going to be in the grand finals. We'll be moving into loser finals though coming up, and it's going to be Avery and High Distortion. High Distortion's first performance in these tournaments going up against the TSM boys. So a lot on the line and a lot riding on. I can't call it either which way, but guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, though, of course, we're going to have the losers finals coming up. TSM going against Avery and High Distortion. Who's going to take it? Let us know in the chat. Tweet it out using the hashtag Friday Fortnite. Hey, tag at UMG events in there as well. Maybe we'll shout out some of your predictions as well in our Friday Fortnite stream. But guys, thank you once again for coming by. Make sure to hit that follow button if you haven't already. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
This is